Okay, I've gotten the handrail brackets, and these here you've probably seen them around your house on the stairway, and these are the brackets that hold the handrail against the wall. These two clips right now I don't need immediately. I'm just going to put them to the side. The other thing I've grabbed out of my toolbox is my 4-way screwdriver, and I'm going to use the Phillips tip, which is the bigger tip of the two that are located on the screwdriver. Number 1 size and the number 2 size. I've also grabbed 6 1.25" drywall screws. I'm going to use these screws to attach my handrail brackets to my piece. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. You're going to place the handrail bracket so that the hole on the top left is right directly over the hole, the line that you made that bisects the diagonal line. Put the screw in the end of the screwdriver, and you're going to go ahead and put the screw in. You're going to turn it in a clockwise direction, and you're just going to put it in so that it's snug. I'm going to take my second handrail bracket. I'm going to repeat this. This is also the top left corner of my top left hole of my handrail bracket, and I'm going to go ahead and put that one in. Alright, before I put the other screws in, I want to just take these and move them so that they're straight in line with my piece. And once I get that done, I'll go ahead and put the other screws in. I have finished putting in the other 4 remaining screws. The next thing I'm going to need is a piece of 2x4. It's a 2x4 that's cut in half. It's 1.5 inches thick by 2 inches wide. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to lay it on my piece so that it lays parallel to the line that I drew. And then carefully using my pencil, I want to take my pencil and mark the underside of my piece, making 2 lines on there. Once I get those 2 lines, I'm going to cut those using the miter box saw or a hand saw located from the tool crib. Once I get that, I'm going to indicate which side's the top by putting a T, so that I make sure that I bevel the handrail on the top side. We're going to use the block plane. Now, the last time we used the block plane, we made this small project where we used the block plane to cut a chamfer or a bevel on this piece at a very straight and at a 45-degree angle. Now we're going to use the block plane to measure to round over the handrail on the top. Okay, and we're going to want to just round it somewhat like this, and then we're going to sand it using some sandpaper provided. Okay, so we're going to use the bench vise like we did before in a block plane, and I'm going to show you how we do that. So first we're going to cut it, and then we're going to round these over. I've been working on my handrail here a little bit. I cut them off at the angles that I scribed when I marked it with my pencil. You remember the block plane is a flat piece of steel with a chisel, sharpened blade in it, and I went ahead and you're just going to go back and forth along the edge, and you're going to keep making adjustments to the block plane, very slight adjustments, so that instead of having a nice square edge to it, we're going to have a nice tapered edge. Okay? I've already done the other side. This side looks pretty good. The only thing I have to do now is take it back to my work area, and I'm going to sand it so that it's nice and smooth. We'll do that now. Okay, once we get the handrail rounded off, we're going to take some sandpaper and we're going to sand it so that it's smooth and that it's nice and nice to the touch. Okay. The next thing we want to do is we want to locate the center of this. And as I told you, this piece measures 1.5 inches. we take the 1.5 inches. If we divide that thickness in half, we get 3/4 of an inch. If I make a mark on either end at 3/4 of an inch, and then use the straight edge again along that line, locate the center of the handrail. Okay, I'm going to take the handrail and we're going to put it back over here. And I want to take these brackets that I had set aside, and I want these, when they go on, I want them to be centered in the middle. And all we have to do now is just locate where we want them. Okay, I can kind of line this up, and you could possibly find something on your workbench that might fit under here just perfectly to help you hold that up. This ruler happens to work pretty well. And then you want this edge here to be flush with the edge of your piece, and you also want this edge here to be flush. Okay? So once I get that located where I want it, if I take my pencil and I make a little mark in that hole, I can see exactly where I'm going to start my screw to put this handrail bracket. I'm going to start my screw there, and then we'll tighten it up. Okay, I've located where my 2 handrail brackets are going to go, the handrail latching piece, and I put the screw on my line in the location that I want it. Now the next thing I have to do, I've also gotten 4 more of these drywall screws, and I would like to start this screw here, and then I'm going to take it out. So that's going to give me the hole that I need to start in. By doing this, it'll just make it a little bit easier while I'm trying to hold it and put the screw in at the same time. Once I've done that, I can go ahead and put this back on my handrail brackets. And put these screws in. I'm going to do this to both, and that should finish my project. I'm just finishing up this last screw. I'm going to check these, just kind of make sure that they're nice and snug. And they are. Okay, now our handrail should be flush here and flush here at the top. The very last thing that we need to do now, or second to last thing, is we have 3 nails that we have to locate on the bottom right hand side of our piece of 2x10. And if we look at our drawing here, it says we're going to draw a line at 1 inch up from the bottom, and then from the right hand edge we're going to go over 1 inch, 1.5 inch, and 4 inch to locate the center marks where those 3 nails are going to go. I can use my combination square again. I can set this to 1 inch. I can mark the end of my square, readjust it so that I can make it a little bit longer, and make that mark along there. Now I need to make my first mark at 1 inch. I'll use my tape measure to mark out 1. And then from that one I go 1.5 inches, so 1.5 plus 1 is 2.5 inches. And then my third spot is 4 inches from the left edge. And I mark. So now I have spots marked. Now all I have to do is put in the right nail. One is a 5D box nail, a 6D finish nail, and a 4D finish nail. So I'm going to go and I'm going to find the proper nails. I've located the box nail and the 6D nail. The box nail goes in the first. I want you to nail these in so that they don't come through the bottom. Then I'm going to put the 6D finish nail in. And then from the nail box located in the center of the shop, I'm going to get the 4D nail and put that in. Now I'm going to go back to the same area of the shop where I've been getting the hardware all week, and I'm going to locate 2 of these carriage bolt sets. It has a nut on it. It has a flat washer. You're going to take the nut off and the washer. Now from the handrail side, I want you to put the carriage bolt through the hole that we drilled. And if you flip it over, keeping your finger over the head of the carriage bolt so that it doesn't fall back out, I want you to place a flat washer on top. And then I want you to put the hex nut and thread it onto the carriage bolt. You can hand tighten it and then spin it around. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. Place the carriage bolt through the hole, holding it with my finger so that it doesn't fall out. Put on a washer. And a hex nut. I'm then going to use this nut driver to tighten them up. Holding the head of it with my finger, once it starts to tighten up, the square portion of the head of the bolt will grip the wood so that you can tighten it. And do the same to both. Then the last thing I want you to do, if you're looking at it back from this side here where we started, you'll notice on the bottom, marked on the center line of the piece. Center line means the center. This piece measures 12 inches in length. So the center line of this piece is going to be located at 6 inches. I want you to come from the bottom side up 3/4 of an inch, and I want you to use that 5/16 inch drill, and I want you to drill a hole in the middle. I measure over 6. Measure up 3/4 to give me the center line of that hole. I'm going to grab the drill bit and the drill. I'm going to drill that hole. Alright, we're back. I drilled the hole through. She comes through the other side. And the very final thing I've done is I've gone ahead and I've put a nail in right here at the right hand side of my booth. And I'm going to go ahead and hang my project right there. And that's the handrail project.